It's the new year! And boy has it been a hectic ride. 2025 has had a lot of ups and downs for me. So with the year having ended, I think it's time to talk about something that I was looking forward to with the end of the season. Predaplants have received their newest wave of support. What I initially thought was going to be 5 new cards plus their subpar premium pack lineup ended up being so much more, with 5 brand new cards in Blazing Dominion, a new fusion spell that works with them, a new Starving Venom retrain in Limit Collection The Rivals, which is also a frame break, and a new free agent card that was revealed on Christmas Eve, thus meaning I was rewarded for procrastinating this video. So as a belated Christmas gift slash early birthday gift, I will be presenting my thoughts on these 8 cards. But since I do want to get this video out quickly and don't want to drag out my thoughts, I've decided I'll be taking a note from a fellow Canadian content creator and giving you these thoughts in a rapid-fire way. Starting with Predaplant Lizard. With fact that Warrior is setting a precedent of them releasing anime cards as part of Legacy Support waves, I had a feeling we might see some of the anime cards dropped along with Warrior's new support. Though, personally I was expecting them to either give us retrains of Flytrap and More in the Penfist, possibly as new pendulums, or both Cephalotus Snail and Lizard given their use together. Well, there's always limited collection. As for the one we got, as I mentioned in my video about these cards, I personally expected it to have the ability to treat itself as a tuner, and to let you draw 2 cards and discard 1. And I can say now that we got this card that I was completely wrong on this front. While there is a synchro in this set, the Lizard has nothing to do with it aside from being a target for its effect, instead having its own unique lineup of effects. And I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. Summoning itself from hand while you control a Predaplant or Starving Venom is already good, giving you a body on the field for all your fusions, or for your synchro, but also grabbing Polymerization gives you a way to fuse into Amio Melodus right there, or as you'll see with the actual combos, fuse into Stapelia later. This does bring up a strange direction that they took with this set, having a wider focus on Polymerization being in the deck, which is a pretty weird choice, but hey, it makes Guardian Chimera better for the deck. The Lizard also keeps its draw effect from the anime, which is a nice bonus given their synchro, and has a final effect on field to make a monster dark. Man, if I had a nickel for every monster that could make a guy a dark in an archetype I like, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but at least Predaplants are running the cards that actually combo with this stuff. Overall, a fantastic realization of an anime card that was long forgotten. 8 out of 10. Oh, I guess we are doing ratings.
Points are made up and the score doesn't matter.
Predaplant Longinephilia. So while I was trying to figure out what Predaplants were going to get this set, I started trying to think of what usual effects modern support gets, to see what would work best with them. Personally, I was expecting them to turn Snail into a circular, but hey, I guess we got one of those anyway, if it's not a Predaplant by name. But what I ended up figuring out was that, of the most commonly used effects, a Stratus for the deck would not improve it enough, due to most of the cards not being benefited from just being searched, especially if the normal summon was already used. Well, I mean, to be fair, the big reason why Longinephilia works so well is because of the fact that they got new cards to search, both the Lizard and a new spell card, so fool on me for not considering that. But yes, this is a Stratos, and one that also searches their back row, which is very welcome, given our previous main deck searcher was the Battle Fader. It can also banish itself from the graveyard to place a counter or set a Polymerization from graveyard banishment. That effect is mostly there for the niche scenario where you desperately need to get your Poly back, as the actual benefit from this card's graveyard effect is the counter placing. Going first, it allows you to use Beerless as an extender, and going second, it turns on the effects of Sundew and Hydra, which is amazing. Not to mention this guy is also a level 1 tuner, which not only allows you to make their on-theme synchro monster, but can also help make other synchros, which is extremely helpful. Also, I just want to say it's really funny that they gave the Stratus effect to a new level 1 spider. It's like an apology for fucking up Spider Orchid.
We have purposely trained him wrong, as a joke.
Really, the only criticism I have of this card is that the second effect only resets base Polymerization, and is not able to reset Ultra Polymerization. I get not wanting it to be able to reset every fusion spell, but even changing it to just say set Polymerization or Ultra Polymerization would have solved that issue, but oh well. That's really just a nitpick, as this is a very incredible card. Max out on them and ways to get to them. 10 out of 10. Drasilia, the Blood Tree Dragon Princess. Man, I love these free agent cards that are basically just archetypal support that are both better and worse for it. Worse because it's now unsearchable by these decks, mostly, but better because it can be used to work with other decks, such as Rose Dragon or even Plant Link, as she is circular for plants. This can let you send things like the Evil Seed or Cyclos, as well as a ton of other great synergies we have yet to figure out. But it also modulates its level to whatever it sends, so she can send something like a 3 to make herself a level 3 tuner, giving White Rose something to pair with, though she can only send a level 4 or lower monster. But the most obvious and intended target for her is Biblisp, allowing you to send and use its search effect to grab Longinephilia, to do the full Predaplant combo. Mostly. Due to how this works out, you'll probably need to use Amu Melodis' search on Lizard, meaning you miss out on searching practice due to not being able to use Primitive, one at later, to send Biblis and search Lizard. Still, this is another stutter for the deck, and while you lose access to planning, which is a bummer, you do have another benefit that you wouldn't otherwise get, which is Dracelia's Graveyard effect, allowing you to banish yourself and another plant to revive a dragon from grave. Meaning you can bring back Clearwing after fusing them off. It's going to be very important later. Also, you know, she is a level 1 tuner. You can pair her with Clearwing and make Crystal Wing, which is probably the better play, but does require you to run a card that you won't be summoning without her, with the exception of opening a Scorpio. If we get a Predaplant that searches back row when it's sent, I think she'd probably be the best starter in the deck. But for now, I think she is a very good 9 out of 10. Predaplant Balthea. I was really curious whether or not we were going to get a new midpoint card for Predaplants in this set, as they already had one of the best ones in Amu Melodis, so a new fusion seemed redundant, and while Synchro might seem bizarre to some, especially with Predapractice fusion locking, it is important to remember that this wave of support is referencing how Yuri defeated and absorbed Yugo, hence why one of the monsters used to make Clearwing was printed, and hell, Predaplants already had a tuner monster, which isn't even able to make this guy.
What do you actually do around here, man?
Though I do think this card having a different level would actually make it worse. Being a 4 means that one of the level 1 tuners can be paired with one of your many good level 3 monsters. And on Synchro Summon, it lets you summon a Predaplant from your graveyard or face-up extra deck, allowing you to revive one of the level 3s, and tune with Balthea, who is also a tuner monster, to make Clearwing, or even revive one of the level 4s to make Crystal Wing. Obviously, they want you to revive Lizard with this so you can make use of the draw, but the most important thing here is that we now have a way to revive Cobra, meaning if we open it, we can summon out Scorpion with Ambu, then revive it later for the Surge. Bricking on this guy is no longer a death sentence. Also, while you can go into Clearwing, another fun option is to go into Bramble Rose, who gives you both a tax card and a control deck, but also a board wipe with Black Rose Dragon. And that's even better than you may think, as a lot of your fusions have floating effects. Bramble can also revive Black Rose Dragon, which can then give you a body for stuff on your next turn, such as making that belated Crystal Wing, and Black Rose can also be revived by Dracelia. Finally, there's its Graveyard effect, to perform a fusion summon by banishing itself and Polymerization, which can get you to another point of interaction, which is flexible since it can use cards in hand, meaning a guy you search off a Biblis and with planning can fuse it to another Stapelia. Gotta say, for their first Synchro monster, pretty good job so far. Also, while you can't make this card under branded fusion due to the lock, you can still send it to a Stay Sail of Ramarin's effect. 8 out of 10. Starvin Venom Fusion Dragon of the 4 Heavenly Dragons. There's gotta be a shorter name for this guy. While I did expect it to be a new Starving Venom frame break, I, like a lot of people, wasn't expecting it or any of the other frame breaks to be retrains. And I think this has gotta be one of the best one, having the same summoning requirement as Starving Venom, but now it's an actual Predaplant monster, just like Predapower. It loses the attack gain and grafting effect of the original for 2 more straightforward effects, and both of them are very powerful, crippling a monster on summon by negating its effects, dropping its attack to 0, and making it a dark monster permanently, turning it into a powerful super tally target, especially since it can be made with branded banishment. But the real fun comes from its second effect, where upon your opponent trying to do anything, it lets you fusion summon a dark monster using itself and any dark monster on the field as material. Realistically, this will net you a Dracostapelia, but it could also let you make Predapower Dragon or even Trip. The funniest answer here is changing it to the normal summon of Albaz, fusing it with him to make your own Mirror Jade. The Predaplant name is also nice, since it can be revived with pruning to trigger its negate effect. Same with Dracelia. Probably replaces OG Starving Venom in most Super Poly slots, and definitely does in Zark decks, that's for damn sure. 9 out of 10. Starving Venom Wing Dragon. Can't beat. I never thought I would see this day come. Finally! A new boss monster that doesn't require additional setup to be good. Sure, the summoning requirement is still a bit tricky, but Ball makes getting the Clearwing easy as pie, and they thankfully made the other requirement a fusion monster, rather than a Starving Venom fusion monster, not making the same mistake of the other Starving Venom Dimension Dragon fusion. Negating a monster when they're summoned and zeroing its attack may seem a bit slow, but it actually works very well, being able to stop an on-summon effect or an ignition effect, and also being Detonator is extremely good. The only thing I'm iffy on is the pendulum effect, which I'm of 2 minds. On the one hand, it's the exact type of counter generation people have wanted to see for so long, placing counters whenever your opponent summons something, which is such an incredibly effective way to spread them. On the other hand, we just turned Dragostapelia into skill drain.
Oh, my favorite!
Even outside of that, this is just a floodgate for Synchro and Xyz decks, making it so that they either have to sit there and die, or side back row hates. But hey, at least we have a scale high enough to pendulum summon Lethal Dose. But even with the Floodgate gripe, I can't help but be thrilled to see this released. We finally have something new to end on and it's glorious. Unless you're playing in Genesis, in which case, enjoy the easier Dragons to Pelias. 9 out of 10. Predator Primitive. Oh, we're just printing whatever the fuck we want if we think the deck sucks enough, huh? I wasn't sure what we could see for a new Predaplant spell going into this wave of support, and honestly, the worst I can say about this card is that it wasn't called Perfect. Send a Predaplant card from deck to graveyard for cost and grab any fusion spell. Searchable off a large Nephilia, can send Biblis who then grabs you the Lizard, and gives you any fusion spell in the game. Remember when this is a thing that requires you to play a super brick. Now granted, it is a bit more limited than Cobra, as it locks you into plants and dragons, just like Drasilia. Did I remember to mention that with her?
No.
But there's still a bunch of good targets for this card, even if it does stop you from making some obviously powerful cards like Mirror Jade. And speaking of Drasilia, while her combo doesn't let you search planning, you do get to ban it with this card, so you at least have the pop from it when you fusion summon. Say, whenever you activate whatever fusion spell you searched for? I mean, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be instant fusion, but hey, maybe you're playing in Genesis where it's ungodly expensive so you search Ultra Poly instead? It can also banish itself to pop one of your fusions when your opponent summons a guy, which is supposed to scale Venomoine, but again, can trigger all of your other effects. I do wish there was an actual benefit to that, like placing a counter, but hey, I'm not a stranger to weird-ass self-pop effects in these videos. Also, I realized after making this video that the reason why this card does this is so you can pop a Wicked Avatar for its nuke effect. 9 out of 10 would have been a 10 out of 10 if this card had a benefit to popping your stuff, but oh well. Apex Fusion. So here's a fun fact. I stayed up to watch the OCG times to see these cards, and stayed up way later than I meant to. After seeing the reveals for the frame breaks, I decided to finally go to bed, and woke up in the morning to find out that there was actually one final card reveal that they snuck in at the last possible second. A new fusion spell tailored for his Predaplant, and I missed seeing the reveal. Well, I guess it isn't so bad because we just so happen to get an amazing piece of support. For the cost of 2,000 life points, you get one of the most interesting and versatile fusion spells around. It targets a monster on the field, and summons one from the extra deck with the same type and attribute, but a different level. Then either sends it to the graveyard or fusion summons using both the monsters. At minimum, this is a machine to make Dragos Tepelia. At maximum, ho 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 ho. I'll try to keep this brief though and only talk about what Predaplants can do, because there's a lot you can do with other decks, the first and most important thing being the fact that it makes Predapower Dragon actually summonable, being able to use Chimera Fleasier and Ambio Melodis to make it, on top of being able to search a card with Chimera Fleasier during your next standby phase. But more interestingly, you can also use it to make Venomoine, by using Lizard to make Cleowing a dark monster, then summoning any dark dragon for material, most notably in this case Albion, which can then set Branded Banishment, which is an incredible card in this deck, but became less accessible since Branded Fusion can't be used with the Synchros. Oh, also you can't respond to this card and it targets an opponent's card, so it's sometimes super polymerization. 10 out of 10, do I have to fucking explain why? Overall, this new wave of Predaplant support gets a 9 out of 10. I am unbelievably happy with how these cards turned out. I was initially nervous at the thought of only getting 5 cards since I felt Predaplants needed a bit more support to become good. But even without the extra cards that they did get, the new support was absolutely amazing. And it may not even be over. We could still get at least one more of their cards in Limit Over Collection, which would be the cherry on the cake, but even if we didn't, I'd be happy with what we have already. Though my personal bet is that's going to be Self-Lotus Snail. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Do you like the new wave of support, or do you feel it could have been a bit better? Let me know down in the comments below. But for now, my next term of college is starting up, so I'll be heading out. Videos are going to become less frequent than 2025, but I hope you enjoy the ones that I do end up releasing. So with that, I'll see you with whatever story comes next.